Hi, my name is Shane Sterling. Welcome to my YouTube channel. In this video, I wanted to talk about why I choose to eat a raw vegan diet. The first on my list is animals and ethics. I really don't like to feel like I'm contributing to the suffering of animals. I went vegan when I was 17 years old. That was in 1991, I believe. I'm 45 now, so that was 28 years ago. I've been vegan for 28 years. I have so much empathy and compassion for animals. I love animals, and I kind of learned early on that I just didn't want to eat them, and I didn't want to contribute to what it meant to eat them, which is like putting them in cages and factory farms and the slaughtering process. And I just became so sensitive to it. When I first tuned into that as a teenager, it changed my life. I just couldn't participate. It was actually fairly traumatizing, I think, to tune into it as a teenager, just coming up in the world and seeing the horrific injustices imposed on factory farmed animals. And I read a book called Diet for a New America, which by John Robbins, that just solidified all of the statistics around the environmental impacts and the health impacts. And so when you put two and two together, we need to treat the animals differently than we currently do on this planet. And so I have to be vegan for the animals. I have to make that ethical choice in my life. I believe that it benefits me on so many levels: spiritual levels, health levels, mental stability levels, just personal responsibility in the world. I've always felt that way. I haven't had a drop of milk in 28 years, cow milk. You know, I feel good about it. When I look at the animals in the farms and on grazing in pastures, I just know I'm not contributing to that animal's death. I know that I'm not contributing to any suffering on a global scale when it comes to our fellow lesser sentient beings. You know, they are voiceless. We have to be the voice for the animals, and I feel responsible for that. So I'm proud of myself for being an ethical vegan, and there's just no other way for me to be on this planet. That is what I have to do. I was born to do that, and I will be an advocate and voice for veganism and for the animals for the rest of my life. The other one, next one I have on here is environmental reasons. I am a raw vegan for environmental reasons. The impact of factory farming on the planet is huge. It's actually the #1 contributor to greenhouse gas. It's the #1 contributor to deforestation. It's the #1 consuming industry of water on the planet. The highest consumption of water goes to animal agriculture. I mean, the rainforests are being cut down in South America. I mean, the list goes on and on. The environmental impacts of animal agriculture is undeniable at this point. And if we're going to take a responsibility for who we're being as a species, humanity, we're going to have to look at how we're treating the planet. And then we have to look at how we're treating the animals. So, I mean, it comes back to morality and ethics that we are currently not really stepping up to. We're not really taking responsibility for the morals and the ethics. So, yeah, that's just a huge one for me. The environmental impact is something I just know that I'm not contributing to that environmental impact. You know, there's other environmental impacts, and I'm working on all of the ones that I contribute to, but animals is not one of them. The factory farming of animals is off of my list. Yay, check. Next one on my list is the health benefits. Well, the health benefits are huge. We have the biggest study ever done in the history of nutrition was done on the food habits and intake of the rich and the wealthy in third world regions, like the wealthiest people eating the highest animal proteins, and the correlation to disease. That was called the China study. I mean, that's irrefutable proof that animal products are linked, you know, especially cooked animal products. When we're talking about like raw dairy from the mountains of like the Himalayan mountains, from the tribes and stuff, I think that's a little different. You know, in Ayurvedic tradition, cultured milk and raw milk is considered alkalizing to the body. And so that's the whole name of the game, is what's alkalizing to the body. I will not eat dairy. I will not eat cow milk. That's just my ethical stance. But if it's raw dairy from your own cow that is loved in your pasture in the mountains, you know, I don't have as much against that type of scenario. But the factory farming of animals for dairy on mass scale, and it's all pasteurized and cooked and dead and sitting on the grocery store shelves filled with antibiotics and pus and just horrendousness. That is unfit for human consumption, and that causes disease. It clogs the lymph system. It lowers our vibrational awareness, our aura. It lowers our auric field. It clogs our digestive system and creates metabolic waste in our GI tract. So particles of the proteins don't get digested and make it into areas of our colon or in our small intestine that they're not supposed to get into, and that attracts bacteria and yeast and fungus and parasites. So cooked dairy and cooked meat do cause parasites, attract parasites, and yeah, it just feels gross to eat it. I have had meat in the 28 years I've been vegan. I have gone back to meat at periods, but I'm vegan. In the back of my mind, I always know that I'm vegan, and I am going against my moral and ethical code. So when I have eaten meat, I've felt like it's really just lowered my vibration. I just don't like who I am when I'm eating meat or dairy. It's just a bad feeling, and so I just can't choose to do it anymore in my life at this time, which is why I am raw vegan, because 100% living foods give me nothing but 100% living life in my body and the vitality that comes with the raw living foods. It's phenomenal. I'm a huge proponent of the raw living foods. It's the best thing that I've ever done for myself, is eat 100% raw fruits and vegetables. The fiber, the water, the electrical conductivity of the diet, the electromagnetic field of the fruits and vegetables feeding my electromagnetic field, it's phenomenal. I highly recommend it. Health benefits are absolutely out of this world, and the opposite, eating bread and cooked oils and fried foods and sugars and refined carbohydrates and cooked dairy and cooked meat is like the lowest vibration food that keeps your lymph system clogged up and keeps you acidic. So health benefits, check. Next on my list is responsibility for my own food and vibration of that food. So this is an interesting topic that I just love. Most people might not even realize, but like when we eat out, for instance, if we eat out in a restaurant, we're allowing someone else's relationship with food and someone else's vibrational awareness of food to be our food. So my relationship with food and the vibration of that food is paramount to me. I want everything I put in my body to be high vibration. I look for the highest quality fruits and vegetables, always organic. I'm always looking for the fruits and vegetables that are like really in season, really ripe, like that just kind of vibrate and glow on the produce stand. Like you can just, my intuition just guides me, and I'm walking down the aisle and I just see them glowing at me. That's what I go for. So if I'm out at a restaurant, or even if I'm eating at a raw food restaurant, I'm relying on someone else's vibrational awareness, someone else's intuition to be picking food for me. What if they don't know how to do that? And especially in like regular cooked food restaurants, they're going to the cheapest sources of food possible to save a buck to make profit. I mean, it's really a lose-lose situation. Eating at restaurants is someone else's relationship going in my body, and I don't trust that. I am only trusting of my relationship with food and my vibrational awareness of food for myself. So eating at a restaurant is absolutely out of the question for me in terms of my integrity. But of course, I do it to be social, and I do it to get along with family and tradition and friends like that. So I, of course, have to participate in the world. I'm not anti the world. I just am very pro myself and pro responsibility for myself. So I definitely take the vibrational resonance of food very seriously, and I just simply cannot get that from restaurants and eating out, or anyone else for that matter. So that is just something that raw food has taught me, And that's just where I'm at with my raw food journey and why I choose to eat a 100% raw vegan diet. It's phenomenal. So yeah, responsibility for my own food vibration, check. Next one on my list is more sensitive to my body and chemicals. Yeah, sensitive to my body in so many ways, not just chemicals like, you know, chemicals in shampoos and soaps. And I've always been into natural home care products and natural products. I don't use traditional chemical products and fluoride toothpaste. I've tried to be fluoride toothpaste free for my entire life, basically since I was 17 when I went vegan. I've been aware of it. So, but not just that kind of awareness of like chemicals on the body, but the awareness of my body, the awareness of who I am, the subtle frequencies of how food makes me feel, of how emotions make me feel, of how situations make me feel, so in tune with my body. I mean, eating raw food has completely opened up my relationship with myself, how I feel, how I feel and how I'm sensitive to everything around me. It's been a phenomenal awakening. It's been absolutely transformative to my awareness of life and God and the universe and my place in it. It is miraculous. So in terms of, my sensitivity and relationship with my body and chemicals and, my sensitivity to everything around me and my body that's it. So check on that one. A huge benefit of eating a raw vegan diet for me is being more intuitive. I have really noticed how my intuition has grown and emerged and become so heightened. I've always been a highly attuned, intuitive person. I've always been so intuitive. Even when I was a little kid, 4 years old, I think I remember telling my mom and dad about intuitive feelings that I had, like people I'd get vibes on and stuff, and I'd mention it. I'd be 4 years old and I'd be like, that person has this kind of a feeling and I don't like it, or I do like it. So I've always been really in tune to it my whole life, eating cooked food, been raised on cooked food. And man, on raw food, it's through the roof. Has really changed my life. I'll never be able to go back to operating how I did before because of how much I've learned and how much my intuition has opened up and how much the divine, like, creative force of the universe has like come into my being. It's like the spirit and the angels really have taken residence in my space. I just feel it. I feel so connected to everything. I feel like I have a deeper understanding of the nature of reality. That's what it feels like. A deeper understanding of the nature of reality, maybe on an atomic level, like a subatomic particle level. Like the particles in the food make me feel the particles in the trees and in the grass and in everything. I just feel it. It's amazing. I'm talking about it because it's happening to me and it's real. So intuition heightened, check. Raw food has changed my taste buds. So yeah, when I walk by like a fried food stand or something, do I get that feeling of like, ooh, fried food craving? That smell, that like carnival fried food smell that's so alluring. Well, to be honest, I have spent so much time detoxifying my body and so much time like loving on raw foods and the fruits and vegetables, imbibing my spirit, my electromagnetic field, that that has really changed. I don't smell that as good anymore. I just don't. To be honest, it smells like just a different chapter. It smells like a different time. It's not that it smells bad. Yes, I know what it means. I know what it does to my body, and that is bad. So that smell says, okay, stay away from that because it's going to harm me. But there's a nostalgic quality to a previous chapter, a previous incarnation of myself. So I love myself, and I'm not so harsh and judgmental on who I used to be, but I just have compassion. That's what it is. I just have compassion for what we're all doing here and what we're all up against. So raw food has really changed my sense of taste. It's changed my sense of what food even is, and it's really profound, you know. I can understand why people are where they are at with it and why they want to eat the fried carnival food, you know, but I will never choose to do that for myself. I will never choose to put that in my body. And that's been a huge transformation and a huge win for me. It feels absolutely amazing and guided and divine. So changing my taste buds on raw food, check. Emotional and spiritual responsibility. Yeah, so I've touched on those kind of, you know, emotional and spiritual responsibility, like stepping into the next version of who I'm supposed to be, advocating for veganism. Being here on this YouTube video right now is that. Stepping into the fact that I'm a leader, I have a voice, I have to stand up, I have to be visible, I have to be active, I have to talk about it. I have to be a proponent for veganism and raw food and changing your life and getting on a higher frequency and feeling the change and the health benefits and the great digestion and just the amazing, you know, gut microbiome and the way that all of that feels. I have to talk about it. So personal, emotional, spiritual responsibility has been up-leveled huge. So check on that. And the last one on my list is a new sense of purpose and fulfillment. And that has led me in a different career direction. So I'm so purposefully filled with the message of raw food and transformation around that, that I want to help others transform. I want to help others get out of the sludge and the trudge of daily life. And we're so chemically ridden with the junk foods in our society that if I could even help one person up out of that mess and into the freedom that is a raw vegan lifestyle, then that's worth it. One person. If I could just spend the rest of my life to only help one person up out of that, it would be so worth it. And that has never happened to me before. That's brand new. That's a new thing for my life. So, you know, when all of those kind of wrap into one, we're talking a huge life transformation. We're talking a profound change of who I am and my identity in the world, and a huge change in how I see myself in the world and how I even see the world. You know, I actually have so much more compassion, you know, for what's going on. And I know that all the suffering in the world that makes me so sad, and all the suffering of the animals that I couldn't bear, that turned me vegan at 17, I know that that suffering is just suffering inside of myself. You know, that deep pain is just the pain that is residing in me from being incarnate in a body, and we're all in this together. We're all on the same path together. Me and you and everyone in humanity and all the animals, all the suffering factory farmed animals, all of it. We're all really one. It's like one consciousness. And I can't be separate from that. Even if I want to run from the suffering and say, I'm not part of that, I'm going to stand against the suffering and the pain, I can't. I'm part of it. So I have to actually surrender to it and allow it to be part of me. So rather than saying someone is wrong for eating meat or someone is wrong for harming an animal in a factory farm context, I will have to say that I have compassion, and I will just be the light that I am. I'll be the voice for what I believe is right. And I will talk about where I think humanity should go and how we should act and what we should do and how we should treat others and how we should treat animals. That's all I can do, is be a voice for it and be compassionate for where others are at, because that's really a reflection of me. You know, if I am talking to someone who only eats meat and is an advocate for eating meat, ultimately that person is me. You know, how would I treat me if I was seeing myself there, if that was me? You know, I would be kind to myself. So that's how I think about it. Like, would I get angry at them and say, you can't do that, that's harming animals? Well, no, I'm going to say, hey, you know, I understand. Life is hard. Life is, you know, we're all in this. We don't have the answers. We're in the darkness. This is the hero's journey being here on planet Earth. We are trying to figure out what our calling is and what our purpose is, and we are lost and we are confused, and the foods keep us confused, you know. So if I happen to have found a pathway out of the darkness, I'm not going to get angry at someone else because they have not. I'll just be I'll be like, hey, I found a path over here. Y'all want to go? Because this path is good. So that's what I'm going to do. And I really have a lot of compassion for where humanity's at. And I know that we can change it. And I know that I'm going to change it just by simply being me. Just by being alive. Just by being the person I'm being. Making the changes I make. It makes a huge impact on the world. being vegan, eating raw food, talking about it on YouTube videos, being the person I am, walking down the street when people talk to me or stop me on the street or at the grocery store. You know, that is what life is about, and that's where I can make the biggest impact in life, is just showing up in my fullest every single day. So wherever I go, my higher self is fully present with me, and that's my full power. That's where I belong, and that's where I can make the most impact. I can't make the most impact in tomorrow and worrying about it and battling and being in struggle. I have no power in struggle and battle. I only have power in my sovereignty, in my happiness, in my joy and compassion, in my love of my life and planet Earth and the beauty that I see around me. So that's really what I stand for, and that is why I choose to eat a raw vegan diet. And I absolutely love it. I recommend it for anyone listening on this video. Please give it a try. Raw food is easy to do. Cut up some fruits and vegetables and eat them and enjoy the way it makes you feel. So if you like that message, please give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe to my channel for more conversations like this. I appreciate you being here on this video very much, and I will see you in the next one.